Oh, it's a hard day's night. A day in the life of a trainer. Sitting next to a horseman myself, Nick Stradamus, the Sarge. So now we've made it to the fact that you got up early, you checked your emails in bed, you got the green tea, the unsweetened tea to get the juices going, and now we're kind of heading into the morning training hours. You've checked the temperatures, checked to see if the staff has been out all night and if they've made their way to the barn, and now we're kind of turning the corner past 6 a.m.
Right. When it really comes down to making sure that all the horses survive the night or say, for example, the day previous, their workouts or whatnot. But you've already kind of laid out your training the night before as far as what your plans are. And then, of course, as we put it here, watching all the workouts, the gallops, the jogging, the ponying, and then putting out fires. You've got horses that may need to have some sort of a suspensory check or an ultrasound for a tendon or, say, for example, an x-ray. But that's where it really comes down to, at the end of the morning, getting together with your team doctor or your barn veterinarian and kind of going through checks. We may be pulling bloods on horses. We may have done it earlier that particular day and or the day before. But it's just really kind of breaking it all down, and that's what you truly admire about trainers. And I think it was the late great Charlie Whittingham who had alluded to the fact that there's no possible way that you could soar with the eagles in the day if you're going to hoot with the owls by night. So that being said, that's the difficult aspect of it, because in today's age of horsemen, you kind of play both sides of it, because you're also entertaining the clients. And some trainers have a secretary that may pick up the phone and answer and may kind of lay out questions for the trainer to call them back on. But for the most part, your cell phone, and that was the only beauty about it. Say, for example, when I was involved as a trainer, like, say, for example, back in the 90s, the only means by which you can make a call would be by a landline or, say, for example, a payphone. So in the
call collect to talk to the owners.
Well, exactly. That's the difficult part of it, So, So the bottom line is that there's so much involved in your team as far as from tip to tail, pardon the pun, but it really comes down to trying to do what's right by your horse.
One of the questions I want to ask you about the workouts, I've seen that, Mark Cassie is a trainer that has a walkie-talkie. Actually, the exercise riders have a walkie-talkie clipped on him, and he's watching the workout, and he can tell them through the walkie-talkie while the workout's going to either slow down or speed up. Are you the type that is really strict on what type of time you want from a horse, or how do you communicate to the exercise riders what you want out of the work?
Well, I think what it really comes down to is that you have to be very trustworthy as far as your riders. Say, for example, like Hall of Fame trainer Bob Baffert, he primarily will use jockeys in the mornings, and namely Martin Garcia when it comes to mind. And in that regard, as a trainer, you kind of have an idea about the time. For example, if it's just a maintenance move, just a leg stretcher, and or, for example, if you're going to 2-minute lick or 2-minute mile a horse, meaning 15-second intervals for a mile, which is essentially 8 furlongs, you're trying to teach these horses to breathe, inhale, exhale, and teaching them to pick up their leads or whatnot. But as far as the radios, for me personally, I think it ends up being a bit confusing for certain riders, being able to take that communication. I don't know if you watched the game last night with the Packers, and they had that little helmet insert, and then they had the was it Michelle Latoya or Lafoya that is a sideline, right? She got on the walkie-talkie, and that blaring of that noise in your ear, even the announcers were just like, can you imagine having that throughout the game? So it's kind of a similar situation with a rider. I think you really have to entrust them to make proper decisions, and you formulate a plan going into the work, saying, hey, we want this horse to eat a little bit of dirt, or you want this horse to go quick, learn how to relax, then finish. Yeah,
it's very interesting. I mean, when we had the work show, as we're going to get to Turf Paradise, one of the things about the work show, they always say, okay, well, if an Asmussen horse works too fast, like untappable, then he's going to be really upset after the work. So,
well, that's the whole point, though. For some of these workouts that we may see on paper, we don't know what the instructions were. And that's why we're so kind of guided upon, say, for example, here in Southern California, the workout reports. You've got Bruno DiGiulio racing with Bruno. You've got Andy Harrington, say, for example, or Toby Terrell in Southern California. We rely on these workout reports. Now, there are other parts of the country, say, for example, we'll be seeing some races today at Zia and here at Turf Paradise. We have no idea. We see a 58 and change. Was that what they wanted from that work, or was it by mistake, or is the cat out of the bag?